That's right.
Who owns your car?
The dead Lou Epton.
Who owns your boat?
If I had one.
The dead Lou Epton.
Same one.
Now, when IRS comes
you
to
never
seize
said
your
me
boat,
forwards.
how can you say you have constitutional rights when the dead Lou Epton owns the boat? They're just seizing the boat under what's called mark and appraisals.
Huh.
That's under military law. It means you can seize objects from people during time of war.
Right.
Mark, it was Mark and something. I don't think it was appraisals. Was it Mark and appraisals? Mark and something. Well, it's found under Mark in the rules of words and phrases. The story gets so big, it's hard for me to remember every word.
I understand.
But anyway, here's the point I'm trying to make in this whole scenario, is the Patriots are going to court with all these great arguments, but they've already granted jurisdiction when they got up and said, that's me. And all their assets are owned by the dead person, and therefore they have not a leg to stand on, and all their arguments are mute. And that's why the judges in the past have said, you can't mention the Constitution in this courtroom, or that's a political issue, take it up elsewhere, shut up, be quiet, you're guilty. You see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, I sure do.
Now,
I sure do.
What's the 7th Amendment do? I'm the IRS agent, I'm coming to seize Lou Epton's boat. I just seized your boat. Does your boat have a birthright? No. Does your boat have a judicial right? No. Does the Lou Epton who's dead have a right to keep that boat? No. Now read the words of the 7th Amendment. In any controversy which shall exceed $20, the right of a common law jury shall be preserved. I just baptized your boat a judicial Christian, did I not?
I think so.
Does your boat have rights now?
Yeah.
Now what happens if the judge does not want to honor the constitutional rights for the boat? He's violated the 7th Amendment.
Correct.
Now, 4 Cans versus United States. I'm going to repeat that. 4 Cans versus United States. In the year 1912, the FDA seized adulterated foods from a company called 4 Cans.
Yeah.
Supreme Court ruled that it was a violation of the 7th Amendment for the FDA to have seized adulterated foods because it violated the 7th Amendment, because it was a controversy which exceeded $20.
Okay.
Now, if I say to you the federal government has jurisdiction to regulate commerce, that means they can do anything they want, right? In commerce.
Yeah, in commerce.
Now let me add to the question. If I say, Lou, you're the federal government, you can regulate commerce, but anything that exceeds $20, you can't touch it unless you have an injured party and a judicial trial with 12 jurors. What did I just do to you?
You've made it judicial.
I just potty trained a Fed, didn't I?
You sure did.
All you need now is a newspaper. You put the nose down and you start slamming the newspaper. They need to be potty trained. They need to know where they belong, and they need to go back there.
Well, I think what we need is for millions more of us to know this.
So, what are you going to do, Lou, when they drag you across the bar and you grant jurisdiction? What's the proper procedure when you're standing in the satanic side of the bar?
To invoke my 7th Amendment right.
Here's the key buzzwords. I hereby evoke the 7th Amendment. I demand a jury trial based on judicial law as preserved by the 7th Amendment. As a fiduciary of this court, you now have knowledge, and therefore I can prove with full intent you're violating my civil rights pursuant to your contract and oath of office as guaranteed under your contract, military contract of the 14th Amendment. Any fiduciary officer who witnesses a civil rights crime, see, I'm not a 14th Amendment citizen, but the judge is.
I understand.
Okay? Any fiduciary officer who violates his oath of office by witnessing a civil rights crime gets mandatory 10 years in prison. That's the Rodney King versus Ventura case, is it not?
It sure is.
Now, every time a judge meets in Las Vegas and has a jury trial and doesn't preserve the 7th Amendment, isn't he committing a civil rights crime?
You bet.
Isn't he violating his oath unto his God of office?
Absolutely.
So what's that make them? Guilty.
Guilty.
Now, let's define the constitutional word for the word treason. The word treason is defined as giving aid and comfort to the enemy.
Yeah.
The definition of enemy now. The definition of enemy is anybody who would subvert the Constitution. Have they subverted the Constitution?
You bet.
Is that an enemy government that has seized power illegally?
Yep.
What's that make every judge who's sitting behind the bench guilty of? Treason.
Treason.
What's the penalty for treason
10 years.
after jury trial?
10 years.
No, death by hanging.
Oh, wait a moment. Wait a moment. Death by hanging?
Yes, sir. Are we getting ugly enough yet?
I think so, Dave.
Now we're going to move into the surprise. You ready?
Real quickly. You got 30 seconds. Surprise me.
Well, let's wait for after the break then, because after the surprise we could take some calls. I wanted to discuss how to get people out of prison.
Okay.
Any other comments you'd like to make for 30 seconds?
Yeah, my name is Lou Epton. Your name is Dave Hinkson. We're together on the AM 840, known as KXNT, coming to you out of Las Vegas, Nevada, covering 9 western wonderful states. Well, times 2 would be 18. Never mind that. It's KXNT. Tonight is Constitution and a whole lot more. And I'll tell you this, it's opened my eyes to a lot of things. And Dave, I must compliment you. You put this in such a sequence. Even I, okay?
Even you understood it this time.
Understood it this time. Now, you've got a little bit more to go, and I want to thank those who have been so patient on the phone. Stand by, because we got just a little bit more, and then we'll take your calls, get your comments, and answer your questions. Go for it, Dave.
Okay. I want to talk about the Miranda ruling just for a minute.
Okay.
Okay. You have the right to remain silent, right?
Yeah, right.
Any right you've heard the Miranda. We all about have it memorized. We watch the cop movies and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the Miranda case, that was a Miranda versus Arizona, the Supreme Court ruled that any right that's an involved right, that means a right that's guaranteed,
Yeah.
has to be preserved, and the only way to preserve it is to give notification.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and do can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Right.
If you choose to waive that right. You see how this is working?
Uh-huh.
Now, these people that are in jail right now, what kind of trial did they get?
Maritime.
Thank you. What kind of trial were they supposed to get?
Judicial.
How do we tell the difference? Who does the sentencing?
The judge.
Judicial
The judge
trial?
does the sentence. Well, now, wait a moment. There are those instances where the jury actually does it, depending on the severity of the case.
I understand that, but who does most of the sentencing?
The judge.
That's proof that it's a maritime trial. Because in a judicial trial, the jury always does all of the sentencing.
Always.
Always.
Interesting.
Okay? Now, the Seventh Amendment says it shall be preserved. Any controversy which exceeds $20, right of a common law jury, shall be preserved.
Right.
Now, maybe there wasn't a $20 controversy, maybe there was. But be aware, you're always guaranteed a common law trial, period. You're always guaranteed that. It was guaranteed in the Articles of Confederation, which are still valid.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The only reason the Seventh Amendment was written was to make sure that when they created the feds, they didn't come out of their 10-square-mile playpen.
Right.
They weren't supposed to come play with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Boy, have
So,
they run
if it
the
shall be preserved, and I guarantee there's not a person in jail that didn't have something more of $20 of value in his case anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if it shall be preserved, using the Miranda decision, shouldn't there have been proper notification? How about this? Lou, you have a right to a Seventh Amendment common law trial. If you choose to waive this right, we're going to maritime your ass. You will lose all your rights.
Makes sense.
And we're going to put you and your fictitious name in prison where you belong. Now, how do you choose to rule? You see what I'm getting at?
I sure do.
The Constitution also says, Lou, that, right, it also states that you shall have cause, nature and cause are the two key words that you're entitled to when under any kind of trial, right?
Yeah.
The word nature means, what venue are we under?
Oh, boy.
So if I was going to court today, I'm not afraid of the bar. I'll walk up, and the judge is going to say, how do you plead? And I'm going to say, well, what's the nature, Your Honor? What's the nature, Your Honor? He's not going to want to answer. Well, it's apparent you don't want to answer that point, Your Honor. I'd like to know, is this a judicial trial or a maritime-type trial? No comment, huh? I evoke the Seventh Amendment of the United States Constitution, Your Honor. Do you know how many times I've been thrown out of court? Usually the arm comes up with the robe hanging on it. Get the hell out of my courtroom. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
You've heard the stories.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell one quick story about the 4 people who were thrown in prison for assaulting highway patrol.
Okay.
And this is a true story. And you know the guy.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Now, he sassed the highway patrol. The highway patrol dragged him out of the car and beat him up, right?
Right.
His wife thought they were going to kill her husband. She got out. She jumped on the back of the cop. He beat her. 2 teenage sons got out, wanted to save their mother. How did it end up? We had 4 people on the ground, badly beaten and bruised, right?
Right.
Okay, more cops showed up, more beatings. All 4 ended up in the Hooskow. charged with assaulting officers, right?
Mm-hmm.
6 months mandatory jail time,
Yeah.
$6,000 in bail and fines, right?
Right.
When they came to me and asked me what I thought, I said, well, I'd ask for a jury trial based on judicial law. They pleaded the 7th. The prosecutor says, you'll get your jury trial. And the grandfather said, goody, 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 and he headed for the door.
Yeah.
Prosecutor said, hold it, wait, we can resolve this now. All bluff, okay?
Uh-huh.
He says, how about we call it a parking ticket? You pay $50 for the court costs. I release the 4 people from jail. We drop the $6,000 bail requirement. We drop all charges, and you take your family home today. How would you like that?
Yeah.
And the guy says, well, it still exceeds $20.